Is it, I know we're getting into a little of that cognitive behavioral therapy. It's just, this topic is so complex and so difficult. Like, if you struggle with it, you know how just all encompassing it can be. And so sometimes it's frustrating, and I've done it. You read a book, you go to a therapist, whatever, and they say, okay, let's write down, what's your thought? Okay, what's the proof behind that? Okay, has it happened before? And I go, yeah, logically, I know what you're saying, but that doesn't fix the fact that it's still happening in my brain. And then I just get frustrated. And I imagine a lot of people have that experience.
Yeah. So your therapist was failing to tell you that you should not believe it right away. That's the first misnomer about cognitive behavioral therapy, is that you exercise by doing that exercise and then somehow it's going to change. We're talking about a pattern of believing that thought your whole life. It is not going to change overnight. You can go to the gym, twice this week, 10 times this week. You're not going to lose the 50 pounds. Like, it's just, so the first thing I say to people is, if you choose to engage with this, the first thing you're going to have is a lot of frustration because you're not going to believe it. It's going to create more irritation and you're going to get annoyed, right? But this is, I learned this, Chris, from my grandmother. When I got to graduate school and they were teaching me cognitive restructure, which is the term behind this, I was like, oh, my grandmother used to do this, right? I'd get really anxious and frustrated. And she'd say to me, is there another way to see the situation? And at 15, I'd be like, no. And she's like, okay, here are 5 ways to see the situation. If you see it this way, what is the outcome? If you see it this way, what's the outcome? If you see it this way. So today, when I get anxious, and I do, and my brain jumps to, I'm stupid, people are going to hate me, I go, okay, what are my 5 other conclusions? And my brain comes up with those conclusions so fast that then I go, okay, this is the one.
Right? This is the one that I'm choosing?
That's the one that, to me, is the one that's most reasonable, the most balanced, right? Not the happiest one, but, for example, if I had a thought, Chris is mad at me right now. I didn't, but imagine I had.
Sure.
Okay, 1, he could be mad at me. 2, he could be annoyed at me. 3, he has a 3-day-old at home, so he's a little tired. 4th, I have no clue. Let me ask him.
Right.
And see, my brain will do that in milliseconds.
Right. And then you will say which one of those is likely the case. Is that, or what will you do from there?
I evaluate them very quickly. If I was in a conversation with you, I might actually say, hey, Chris, did I say something that upset you?
Right.
I will check on data behind if I can't. If I can't, I look at the competing hypothesis and try to get to a more balanced belief.
Balanced, meaning, explain that. What do you, and I'll get to where I'm going, and I think those listening are probably following along. When you say, I'll try to get to a more balanced belief, what does that mean to you?
So to me, it means that I look at the competing hypothesis, I look at the data behind them, and I try to alter my interpretation so it's not consistent with my own previous belief, so that I'm not just confirming my own fears.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to unpack it.
Yeah.
It takes a level of insight for sure. But if we agree that our brain's trying to confirm whatever our view of the world is, then, and that's the path of least resistance, I try to go against that path a little bit to see if there is another way to see the world.